Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? A gracious good morning to you good people. It's your girl KB. You know what I do, and you know why I do it. It is Tuesday morning. It is September 16th, and it's 3:09 in the AM. Yeah, my short vision, my reading vision is getting worse. Or maybe it's just worse in the morning. I don't know. Um, eye exam prescription hasn't changed that much, so um, yeah. Again, you didn't sign on to hear a health update from me. I want to talk about something that's a hot topic right now and a divisive topic. And I want to say it's divisive only if you let it be, and only if you're a hop on the bandwagon type person and you don't read or you don't investigate. Then it's a hot topic. And that topic being Charlie Kirk. Now, when the shooting first happened, and I'm going to call it what it is, an assassination. When it first happened, you know, people immediately divided into camps. And as it's being blasted on the news on a regular, I want you to pay attention to a couple of things. One, people's personal perspectives, including your social circles. And two, I want to say, undercurrent of the media, the mass media. And I want to start with number two, the undercurrent of the mass media. I want you to pay attention to the fact that Mr. Kirk in the reporting is being martyred. Okay? Mr. Kirk in the media is being called everything except what he was or what he stood for is not really mentioned. And that is racism and divisiveness. Not since the death of Jefferson Davis has the flag been flown half-staff for a white nationalist, a bigot, a racist. I'm going to call it what it is. But I want to also humanize it. I was taught not to speak ill of the dead. And I'm not now, nor have I ever, since this tragedy has happened, spoken ill. Now, I'm highlighting what the man stood for. He was a separatist, a racist, and a bigot. There's some other characteristics, misogyny, just straight up sexism. And some anti stuff. But for the most part, that's what this young person stood for. Now, in some conversations that I've had, I've heard people, and I know that there are stories about people being fired for celebrating the killing. And I've heard conversation on that level. And for me, that's, I want to say, horrible. So all the other stuff that he was still a human being. Of all the other stuff that he was, He still had a family. He still had kids. He was somebody's son. You know, people can be re-educated about certain things. But they can't be reanimated in that we don't have the power to resurrect. And that being said, the talk that's being celebrated only serves to strengthen and elevate the people who are like-minded with Mr. Kirk. And for me, you know, there are some people who don't know what to feel or how to feel or don't feel anything at all. I'm one of those people that don't feel anything at all because I'm full aware of how this government moves and has moved since its inception. I don't have a romanticized notion about America. You know, I've always stated that I'm grateful for the freedoms that I do have. I'm grateful for the people who have paved the way. I'm grateful for the people who have fought for this country. Your service is greatly appreciated. I really do mean that. And having folks who have, I want to say, stellar military history in my family, stellar service. You know, I understand the dedication and devotion to the military. I do. But I'm also full aware of the covert and nasty actions that, again, America has participated in since its inception. And most of the, I want to say, crimes have been leaning toward genocide of people of color. It started with the indigenous folks. Then it moved to African Americans. Then we had basic war with Asians, specifically Chinese. Yeah. We had issues with Mexico. And these wars, these issues have also been initiated and instigated by the people of Europe. So the mindset is born by the people who sought to colonize. So, you know, we're telling ourselves, I'm going to be an expatriate living in another country, you know, because they're more civil. No, they just learned to be more covert. Again, the mindset started in Europe. That part. And because we have this romanticized notion of the history of this country, that it was founded and you know, developed on its own, that, you know, we tend to forget. Now, I had no love for Mr. Kirk. I need to be clear about that. But I did have respect for a life, He stood on his principles. However misguided, he stood on his principles. So there was some level of character there, however nasty. You know, he respected his family. And I know this is not going to be a popular opinion. And set his family dynamic the way it wants to be run. You know, these are things that we give props for, correct? So if nothing else, as a folk who identify on every side as a faith-based individual, can you look into that sustaining faith and see humanity? Now, humanity with inhumane actions, and the majority of us have them from time to time. But we seem to overlook that. You know, I want us to get off the bandwagon and tap into just being human. That part.